Welcome to the ICA at Maine College of Art. I'm Julie Poitras Santos. I'm the Director of Exhibitions here, and I'm really excited to show you today our new exhibition, Some Things We Can Do Together, Megan and Murray McMillan. It really shows over a decade worth of their work. So we're really excited to bring you in here at this time and welcome you to the ICA galleries. What's really great, as soon as you enter the space, you see these big 11-foot tall lilies. I love how they completely consume the space, and you can see them from outside through the window. It's a really gorgeous entry into the exhibition. This 2010 work, What We Loved and Forgot, was actually constructed in their home. McMillans make a lot of really elaborate sets when they make their work, and it's really exciting to see that they brought parts of those sets to us here in the exhibition. In some parts of the video that accompanies this work, you'll see these lilies being constructed. You'll also see someone within the apartment cooking a meal. The McMillans work with a lot of their friends as performers, and the performances are always fairly loosely scripted. So there's this sense of a kind of blurring between art and life, between performer and crew member, between audience and crew, that really unfolds in a lot of their works that you'll see.
An object must travel at 25,000 miles, or 40,000 kilometers per hour.
The shifting space around us is a 2-channel video based on a live performance installation in Toronto, Canada for the Nuit Blanche, the Night Circus exhibition, which takes place in the Toronto Railway Museum on a turntable that historically was used to shift the trains when they were shifting tracks. And what they're doing here in the performance is they're unpacking a series of crates that become stages for performers that perform a flea circus that also references satellite technology and outer space, and it's really a magical piece that unfolds as you're watching. Something you'll see again and again in the McMillans' work is this transforming structure and transforming architecture that really shifts and changes in a surprising way. Oftentimes the camera will pull back to reveal more of what's happening, and the mechanisms are really made visible. Nothing is hidden from the viewer. So when you walk into this gallery, you're immediately immersed in this incredible installation and video projection. This work is called In What Distant Sky from 2013, and through the course of the video you actually see the same boulders in the room begin to move through the space of the video. So you start to feel like you're in the video yourself on some level. In this work, it is shot in an industrial coal bin that's abandoned, and they've made these wooden boulders, or you could say large chunks of coal. They're designed after a faceted formation of coal to reference the coal bin. And throughout the course of the video, the performer climbs onto one of these boulders and slowly rises up through this bin. And as she rises and the camera rises with her, she passes through successively more complex areas of architecture. She actually goes past a tea room, a Japanese tea room, and she gets off the boulder at that point and then climbs a ladder to the roof of this old industrial building. And the McMillans really talk about the industrial history here that is sort of, we've moved on from culturally, historically, economically, and those changes that are referenced by these historical structures. So as you walk down the hall, you see this enormous structure, which is the title of the show, Some Things We Can Do Together, that was made recently in 2019. I think this piece really plays with the notion of a retrospective. This exhibition, as I mentioned, shows more than a decade of the McMillans' works, and they have made a number of their former sets and architectural structures at the scale of a birdhouse. And then they installed them outside and placed a stop action camera in front of the window and captured the birds interacting with their work. What's really great about this is that they kind of set a meal for the birds, much as they set a meal for their human collaborators, and they really invite a lot of chance and play from the birds to transform and kind of retell the stories that are shown in their works. It's also thought-provoking and really asks a lot of questions about creativity, how much chance we engage with. It asks about interspecies communications and collaborations. I think it's also really touching on some level, like as you watch and you think about the title of the work, which is Some Things We Can Do Together. It's a really kind of moving piece also to think about these things that we do together, like make art. So this next work we'll look at is the Listening Array, which is a work from 2008. And it's played on this really small screen in this kind of chunky wooden frame. Throughout the gallery, there are a number of these small frames, small videos that are playing, and it's, I think, a really fantastic installation counterpoint to the immersive installations that are really large and sort of overwhelm you with their scale. These are these micro gem-like moments where you're invited in to see the work kind of personally and intimately and engage with what's on the screen here. This piece, The Listening Array, really reflects on a lot of research they did on the history of surveillance and who listens to who, the power dynamics inherent in that, the risks and changes that are involved with that as well. So what you're looking at here is a video screen that has been created out of the platform. So like a lid of a box, it opens up. This platform is what the McMillans refer to as a lake. It's covered with mylar and reflects the light throughout the room. As you can see in the video as well, there is a mylar lake. In this video, a couple takes a rowboat across this lake and gets out and watches the setting of the sun. And while they're watching the setting of the sun, a room is lifted up around them. A series of walls are lifted up by pulleys and kind of blocks their view of the sun. We're let in on the trick here. We're let in on the way in which the mechanisms operate to create the magic of the video. The work plays with illusion and what we perceive as real. The camera reveals a series of edges and ruptures, and I would say it's kind of like the theater is transformed from the everyday to the magical to the everyday again. So as we round the back edge of the lake, we're confronted with these large stacks of furniture that are housed in these perfectly shaped cases for them, and a television on a table at the center of the installation, with a video in which you can see another stack of furniture in a case that houses that stack of furniture. This piece is really an homage to childhood environments we build and the role of imagination for children. And I love how it plays with our sense of scale. Of course, as a child, you probably couldn't lift these tables up to 10 feet high, but there is a sense of the scale of our emotions as children and also the way in which the world seems really large. So in this video here within the installation, a man bears a sandbag and he carries it over this mountain of a stack of furniture and down a mylar lake. And you can imagine the stories kids tell themselves about the environments they're building is sort of unfolding in this video. As well, there is a room that floats across the space within the video, and someone in a hammock actually descends down to the ground and joins a group of people at a dinner party. For me, I feel like everything is possible in some of these videos. You feel like anything could happen, and it's kind of like this television set is dreaming from within the installation. This piece is called When We Didn't Touch the Ground, and it was created in 2012. So this work is based on the Annunciation with Saint Emedius by Carlo Crivelli from 1486. And in that painting, it's really extraordinary architectural space that is depicted. There's also a lot of incredible color and red used in the walls and the structure. And there's a window where the Virgin Mary waits for light from God for the Annunciation. So This piece really references that, but then moves beyond it. I would say it's maybe inspired by it. In this piece, a man walks through a grid of red structures that are holding house lamps, and he takes one of the lamps and walks it into a hallway. The hallway then begins to move, which this architecture is referencing, that mobile hallway. He passes the light through a window to a couple who are in conversation, but really not aware of what's happening with the light. So kind of an extraordinary piece to witness, also with the way in which the grid of lamps reflects in the room and makes the room glow. It's a really beautiful work. This work is really mysterious. The work is in a television that is horizontally oriented within the lake. When you look at the work, you're kind of already shifting in your sense of gravity. The piece is called A Slight Shift of Gravity, and the artist created a contour map of a landscape that references an archipelago that stretches between Finland and Sweden in the Baltic Sea. The archipelago is in the midst of what they call the Great Uplift, a post-glacial rebound where land masses that were depressed by the huge weight of glacial ice during the last glacial period are rising due to ice melt. So in this work, a person is underneath a model of the island, and the model shifts and creating a hole in the landscape where the light can break through it and hit the man's face. But he shifts in position to avoid the light. So throughout the work, you're really seeing this kind of upended gravity, and I think in a sense you're trying to make sense of that shift in gravity the whole time you're observing the video. So what you're looking at here is essentially a floating room. It's suspended, and as the room is replicated or in the video, or vice versa we might say, it is also repeated in the Mylar lake below it, which really amplifies this floating quality of the structure. This piece is based on the Arnolfini marriage portrait by Jan van Eyck, and really is a chance to reflect on the modern institution of marriage. This is a real-life couple folding sheets together in this room. And over the course of the video, the couple moves within the space, and then they descend as the room is shifting and moving. You'll see again that technology and mechanisms for making things shift and move are revealed within the video as they are revealed here in the installation. It's a really stunning work, I think. It's the gem-like colors and qualities of the video image are related to the painting and really draw out that relationship in a stunning way. McMillans often create photographic series that relate to the works, their sculptural and video works and installations. Here you see two of the works we've seen earlier in the exhibition. This is When Our Feet Didn't Touch the Ground, and this is The Shape of Our Best Intentions. A varied lexicon of elements play throughout their works: vessels of transport, bridges, boats, structures that move and float and fly, and you can see those here in the photographic series as well. Their work, like Dreams, really plays with our sense of narrative and our sense of the possible, and really stretches us to think about other ways of seeing, other ways of constructing space. They tell us stories about communities, about relationships, revealing the sometimes awkward glue that connects us to each other. In the savored moments as well, those dinner parties with friends, watching the birds out the window. And they really show us that memory and desire is always present in our daily labors. Thanks for joining me on this tour of this really amazing exhibition we're super proud of. We're really grateful and thankful for the artists and their ambitious vision. And I also want to do a shout out for our incredible preparatory team here in the ICA at Maine College of Art. I hope when we open you get to come see the show.